Alright, TTC, what's going on, everybody? It's Indigo Iceman coming back to you. First of all, thank you very much for all the new subscribers. I greatly appreciate all of you and all the ones who have commented on my first video. Got some nice response from that, so thank you all very much. Thank you very much, Hoss, for the shout out video. I guess I really got to bring it now because you've already proclaimed that the Iceman cometh. I do appreciate that. That definitely raises the standards for me. And I also appreciate the dig about I can't help being a Carolina man. And I like to say I appreciate that. That's very true. Very true. I cannot help it. I like to think that it's one of my better qualities these days, especially now that we're being as successful as we have the past few seasons. Definitely the best time that there's ever been to be a Carolina fan, and I'm glad that I'm here for that. I'm glad that I've been through all the lean years, and there's been quite a few, but you know, that makes it all better and worth it now. And being a Carolina fan is a lot of who I am. You know, it's garnet and black is in my veins, and you know, I don't take that saying lightly. And you know, I think back, you know, and within my own lifetime, we've gone from the Sparky Woods era was about the time that I became kind of aware of college football. You know, I was very young then, but when I think of college football, you know, I remember, you know, being a kid, you know, going down to my grandfather's place down in a little dot of a town in the Low Country called Greeleyville. If any of y'all happen to know where that is, it's just a little tiny town going down next to Charleston, way down in the Low Country. And you know, we had a few of the my uncles and stuff would have, you know, a few tobacco farms, a little bit of cotton. You know, we're, you know, one of the last people, you know, still actually doing that. And actually some of my uncles still do some tobacco growing. So, you know, they're one of the last few people doing that. But anyway, we'd come down, we'd do some farming, and then, you know, Saturday afternoons everything would stop. You know, we'd go over to Granddad's house, and you know, he'd have these ginormous, juicy watermelons, and they were the best thing in the history of the universe. And we'd have those, and we'd listen to Carolina football. And not that we didn't have a television or anything, we're not that hillbilly, but one of my grandfather's eccentricities is that he found listening to sports on the radio a lot more exciting than watching on television for some reason. And I can't say I completely disagree with that, but I do like to watch my television now. But anyway, we'd listen to the game, we'd have these enormous watermelons, and it would just be a whole family thing, you know, all the guys in the family, and a few of the ladies, because we do have some women in my family that are big college football fans, so shout out to them when they see this video. So, you know, right from the get-go, you know, Carolina football is ingrained in my DNA from experiences like that, and you know, that's a lot of the reason why I'm a Carolina fan. It's never changed, never slackened off, and you know, glad that I was there through all those lean years, and now that we're being as successful as we have been the past couple years makes it all better and worth it. So you know, that's just a little bit of background about why I'm a Carolina fan, since you want to take a shot at it, Hoss, but I appreciate that. And you had asked me a little bit about my NFL fanhood. I am definitely a Carolina Panthers man. You know, I'll probably talk a little bit about the Panthers, you know, just here and there. As far as coming on here and talking, I'm more of a college guy by far. But I mean, I do support my Panthers, you know, every single Sunday, through thick or thin, from day one. Probably watched live at least 95% of all the snaps since day one. Right from the Hall of Fame game there that year in Canton against the Jaguars, and Tyrone Poole caught that interception to seal the deal. From then on, I've been hooked. So that's a little bit about that. BossDog, took that bet with you strictly just to kind of get you to make that bet. So I mean, I'm not a Steelers guy by any means. I just wanted to, you know, let everybody know that I intend to come to play and bring it. So I mean, that's the whole reason why I made that bet. I just wanted something quick, you know, and easy solvable, so that that everyone can see about that. You had mentioned making another a college bet with total points scored being the margin. I'll go along with that. I'll accept that. What I would propose to you about that is total points scored through the regular season games, and whoever loses has to make a shout out, excuse me, not a shout out vid, but a hype vid for the winner's bowl game, and the loser in that video, the loser has to I'll paint my face green and orange for you. I'll shave my head completely bald as can be, and you go half and half, green and orange, and if you want to do black and red with your hair dye, because I'm not going to ask you to shave your head, that's just ridiculous. I'll settle for black and red hair dye, and it can be just some kind of red, because I imagine finding garnet hair dye would just be a pain in the ass. It's just not called for. So we'll just make a hype vid for the other's bowl game. So that's my proposal to you about that. If you want to do something else, something more fun, I'm completely cool with that. So just let me know what you think about that. And quickly, because this is running a little bit longer than I'd wanted to, I'm going to do some predictions, so that y'all can know that I'm not psychic, and I don't have any idea what I'm talking about any more than anybody else. I'll go ahead and make that clear right from the start. My conference winners that I'm going to predict for this season, I guess we'll start with the former Big East, the AAC. My prediction there is who gives a shit, because the whole conference sucks, and I'm glad they don't have an automatic bid anymore. So my prediction for that is I don't care. For the ACC, I think I'm going to go with everybody. I think FSU is just too much for anybody in the ACC. I think they're going to repeat, at the very least, as ACC champions. Big Ten, I'm going with Michigan State. I think Michigan State, is a highly underrated team. I would very much, love to see Michigan State win, just because they are building up a powerhouse, and I like to see anybody in that conference that can legitimately challenge Ohio State, and in their case beat Ohio State. And I was very glad to see that last year. I think that they are underrated and undervalued, but I think that they are more than likely going to go undefeated this season and get into the playoff. So I am very much, behind Michigan State this year. Not a fan though, so let's just be clear about that. For the Big 12, I got Oklahoma State, and I know Oklahoma is the favorite right now. I just am not yet sold on Trevor Knight as an everyday guy. I'll give him nothing but props and credit for the game that he played against Bama, but he had a lot of inconsistency issues. He had struggled to, take the quarterback position from Blake Bell, who's now a tight end. So I don't see him playing that, to that level every week. So that's why I mainly have doubts about that. And I just think with Oklahoma's system, having great quarterback play is too important for them to win the conference with their quarterback struggling with inconsistency. Pac-12, that's a tricky one, because Pac-12 is deep. I really like Pac-12 ball. Sorry, David, but I think this is UCLA's year. I really don't have a reason for thinking that, but I just think that it's UCLA's year, and I'm going to pick them. As much as I like Oregon, and I like seeing them do well, because I like seeing you on here, but they've struggled with Stanford and people like that, and I just don't see that changing with the recruiting that's been going on in both programs. So I think not exactly by default, but I think that UCLA has what it takes to get by Stanford, and Stanford I think will knock Oregon out of contention. So I just think that it's UCLA's year. No offense intended. Then move on to the SEC. That's kind of a little bit of a trickier one to deal with, because I'm going to incur the accusation of just being a team homer here. I think this very well could be our year to win the SEC East at least again. I think Georgia has a lot of questions to be answered. My prediction for Georgia could be completely different 3 weeks from now as it is now, but they have a lot of turnover, and especially on the defense side of the ball. So how they answer those questions, I think, is yet to be seen. So I have a little bit of doubts about them. Florida, I think Florida fans are a little bit overly optimistic right now, as far as, oh, well, we've got everything figured out now because we've got the right offensive system for Driscoll. Everything to date suggests that he is a overrated 5-star washout. No offense intended, but that's what he's been. If that's entirely the fault of the wrong system, I don't have faith in that argument. So I just think that Florida fans just so desperately want to turn their attention away from last season, and that's understandable. We have a program that's been what Florida has been recently. They're going to want to forget in 4-8 season. That's understandable, but I just don't think that this new system is just going to be this magic cure-all that's going to propel them to the playoff. I think they're still kind of an offensive dumpster fire, and the defense is still going to be great, but I just don't think that the offense is going to prove enough to carry the team the way that Florida fans seem to think that they're going to. Missouri lost a shit ton, and let's just be honest about that. So I have doubts about them. So this could be our year. If there ever has been a season that's set up to be Carolina's year, I think this is it. So we damn sure better take the bull by the horns on this one, and I really hope that we do. I really hope that our players and our coaches are sick as shit of defeating good teams but losing the stupid ass games we shouldn't, and watching the SEC championship game on television at home because we lost that stupid game. No offense against Tennessee, but we should never have lost that game last year. We went out and we played like shit, and we got our asses defeated. I'm not going to make excuses about that. I'm not going to use the Clemson argument of, we beat ourselves, da-da-da-da-da. They played better in the game last year than we did, and we got beat because of it. That's the end of the story. So, props to Tennessee for beating us. Grant credit where credit is due, but we shouldn't have lost that game. So if we can get rid of that problem, I think that we go to Atlanta this year. And from the West is it's a bit of a pick'em this year. You have your traditional strengths. I'm not sold on LSU a little bit. I think that one of their quarterbacks should be able to stand out from the other. So I have concerns about LSU, although they will get that figured out and then become the traditional LSU powerhouse. I have the same concerns about Bama. I would like to see their quarterback situation settled a little bit before I kind of make the traditional Bama pick. I give nothing but respect for Bama and their accomplishments, but I don't project onto the next season based on last season. So, is Coker going to be the guy that people are saying that he is? We'll see. And then you got Auburn. I have a little bit of doubts about Auburn because I think that they're trying to make Nick Marshall something that he's not. The putting so much emphasis on the passing part of Marshall's game. I just think he's more kind of a runner guy, who passes when needed. Excuse me. Get out of here. I'm the star of this show. So, sorry about that. So, they're going to be right there, and I know it's not going out on a limb, but I think that the West is going to be decided by the Iron Bowl, as it usually is. So, after the season plays out, I'm going to say Bama takes it this year in the West, sets up a Bama versus Carolina SEC championship game, and but then it's anybody's ball game as far as I can go with that, because there's just not enough evidence right now to make a prediction about an SEC championship game, although I hope that we're in it. That's a given. Then I try to get moving along here. Some specific games, which I'll cut short my discussion because I am going longer than I wanted. Us against A&M week 1. I think week 1, A&M is still a dumpster fire on defense. They have a lot of question and answer on offense, so I think that we pretty much wax them. I'm much more looking forward to the Georgia game, because that's going to tell us a lot more about where we're at as a team. Georgia is going to be a hell of a lot more of a challenge for us, and definitely has the possibility of just steamrolling our asses much more than A&M does. So that's the early big test I'm looking forward to. But for week 1, I'm saying we just steamroll A&M. Let's see what else I want to talk about. Some of the more notable week 1 games. Bama versus West Virginia. Bama's just going to roll. It's going to be roll tide, roll that whole game. FSU and Oklahoma State. That's going to be a more interesting game than people are making it out to be. I'm not sold on FSU as just the absolute dominant team that some are making them out to be. Although give them nothing but credit for the national championship. I think Oklahoma State, to an extent, can match them score for score with their offense. How they can play against a quality defense like FSU is to be seen, but that's going to be a closer game than people are predicting. I think FSU wins probably within about the 10 to 14 point range, so somewhere in the area of, I don't know, say 41-35, I'm thinking, over Oklahoma State. And I'm not going to talk about this BS about Oklahoma State will keep it close through the first half and then FSU will pull away in the third, because that's the bullshit that everybody says when they really don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to sound like they do. Underrated team B will keep it close with overrated team B or team A through the first half, but then the favorite team A will pull away in the third. Blah blah blah. Like I said, that's what people say when they don't know what the hell they're talking about and just want to make a prediction. So I'm going away from that. I just think it'll be throughout the game closer than it's being made out to be, and then again FSU wins by about 10 to 14. Now I'm going to go out a bit of a limb here with the Wisconsin LSU game. For whatever reason, I think Wisconsin is going to pull this one off. Going to pull off the shocker. I think mainly because Wisconsin is a very good team. They're maybe underrated. They have a great running offense. Wisconsin always has a great offensive line. I think the defense is pretty solid. They have a little bit of questions about the quarterback, but not anywhere near the questions that LSU has. LSU has 2 underclassmen who can't differentiate one from the other. So I think LSU has a lot more questions to answer, and Wisconsin is going to come in and pound it and know exactly who they are, what they want to do, and go from it from snap 1. So I think that's going to give Wisconsin an advantage, and I think Wisconsin pulls the shocker. I guess I should prepare to have my ass torn up by LSU fans and SEC homers, but that's okay. That's what I'm here for on TTC. But like I said, you heard it here. I think Wisconsin is going to take it over LSU. And then the biggest game I'll get to real quickly so I can wrap this up is Clemson, Georgia. A lot of factors are going to play in this. You have a lot of players missing. You have a lot of players looking to make their names, but are they going to be able to do that week 1? That remains to be seen. I think a factor that's going to matter more than it's been reported is that Clemson needs this victory a lot more than Georgia does. Georgia has more opportunities for signature wins in order to get to where they want to be than Clemson does, but Clemson pretty much has 3 tough games, a couple of moderates, and then a bunch of cream puffs. And so Clemson needs this a lot more. The home atmosphere, I think, is an overrated concern, because crowd noise can affect you to an extent, but if you're prepared for it, I don't think it matters nearly as much, because the crowd is not going to tackle you. It's not going to do anything other than make noise, and if you're prepared for the noise, then you can deal with it. But with last year's motivation in mind, I think Georgia takes this one. I say 35-27. Just gut feeling. Like I said, there's a lot of factors that decide that, but I think Georgia's going to take it. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you think. Crucify my ass if you want. That's what I'm here for. So let me know what you think. Take it easy, TTC.